Good afternoon, Jets Nation. Welcome to the Jets Show. And today we're going to be talking about the 5th practice of training camp. So without any hesitation, let's get it started. So before we talk about today's practice, Deshaun Watson did in fact get suspended for 6 games, meaning he will miss the Week 2 matchup against the New York Jets. So hopefully this gives the Jets a better chance to win. But now let's talk about today's practice, starting off with our daily Zach Wilson update. At the beginning of practice, he throws this absolute bomb to Elijah Moore. 80 yards, it was an 80-yard touchdown. Ball traveled like 50 to 60 yards in the air. He threw it across his body, feet up in the air, and hit Elijah Moore perfectly in stride, and Moore scored the touchdown. I mean, you can't get a better pass than that. But then Zach Wilson didn't really do much for the rest of practice, though. It was a pretty quiet day for him as well. Didn't throw any interceptions, but also really didn't do much also. I mean, it was just a quiet practice. Elijah Moore did have a nice sideline catch from Joe Flacco later in practice, though, so he had a pretty nice day, and it looks like Elijah Moore is going to have a big season in 2022. But let's talk about everyone who got sacks on the quarterback. So Carl Lawson, Sheldon Rankins, and Tim Ward all got sacks today. Carl Lawson finally getting himself on the board. I think this is back-to-back practices where he's gotten himself a sack. And I want to say Sheldon Rankins got 2 sacks today, so a big day for him as well. But the O-line was just allowing pressures left and right today. Not a good day for the offensive line at all. I do want to say, though, that chemistry definitely probably has to build some more for the offensive line. I mean, think about it. I mean, first off, George Fant's not there. They have newcomer Lincoln Tomlinson there. And Mekhi Becton also hasn't played football in a year as well. So on top of a backup tackle, a person who hasn't played football in a year, and a newcomer to this team, chemistry's probably just bonding together. It is the beginning of training camp and as training camp goes along, once we get into these joint practices, hopefully we see the offensive line just start to play better. But George Fant obviously still not practicing, and Tevin Coleman, who's been on the NFI since the beginning of camp, has been dealing with an illness, not COVID, but it is an illness, so I would definitely expect him to be back. They never really said what the illness is, but I'm not expecting it's anything that's going to keep him out for at least a month, so expect Tevin Coleman back pretty soon. But that's all that happened in practice today. I mean, a pretty boring practice, not a whole lot happened. The kicking gauntlet, the New York Jets, of course, did have the kicking gauntlet today. Greg Zuerlein did make all 4 of his kicks, and Eddie Pinheiro did, of course, only make half. He made 2 out of his 4 kicks, so that's definitely not ideal. But hey, he just had an off day. Eddie Pinheiro is going to be coming back better than ever the next time the Jets do the kicking gauntlet, and won't miss a kick for the rest of practice. You'll have my word. But Robert Saleh did have a press conference today. He said that the defense was on absolute fire today. And I mean, maybe this is why we've seen the offense struggle so far in training camp, because our defense has just been really good. Of course, once we get into joint practices, we're going to be able to see if the defense is just amazing or the offense actually is struggling. But either way, props to the defense, because they've been having a pretty fine training camp so far. And Robert Saleh also says that Quan Alexander is in fantastic shape and also had a really nice tackle, a really nice goal line stop against Ty Johnson, in practice today. But that's all that happened in the 5th day of training camp. What are you guys' thoughts on today's video? Comment it down below. Check me out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at @Jets for more content. Also hit the subscribe and like button if you enjoyed today's video, and check me out on Let's Talk Sports, and also check them out because they have a ton of good content. And without any hesitation, I'm your host, Jets, signing off for now. See you guys later. Peace.